we're only tasting 15 whiskeys or something like that.
That's all?
That's it. Welcome to the Firewater Review, a podcast dedicated to whiskey reviews. I'm your host, Seth Brown, and this week I'm changing it up just a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, Aaron and myself and Aaron's brother Jeremy met up in Pembroke, Kentucky, a small farming town in western Kentucky, right off of Interstate 24. Pembroke is about 45 minutes to an hour north of Nashville, just across the Tennessee-Kentucky state line. And we met up at one of our favorite distilleries, MB Roland, with the intention of picking a barrel of rye whiskey. We met up with Paul and Merry Beth Tomaszewski, who are the founders and owners of MB Roland. And I tell you, you might not be able to find better, more hospitable people in the bourbon industry. Just super accommodating, extremely nice, extremely friendly, and that goes for their entire staff too. I mean, they just really rolled out the red carpet for us and made us feel at home. And I've said it a few times before to I know Aaron that this may have been my most favorite bourbon experience of all time. And you couple that with that evening we met up with the Dad's Drinking Bourbon and recorded an episode, and it was just a great bourbon day. But anyway, the tasting that we did, and you'll kind of tell when you listen to the episode, we recorded in what used to be a former dairy barn. So you'll pick up some surrounding sounds, some banging on the table. So my apologies in advance for that, but it's the shuffling of the bottles of the samples that were pulled from the barrel. Going into it, we kind of figured that we would be tasting somewhere between 5, maybe 7 different samples of what we thought would be rye, but it ended up being 15 total samples, 10 of which were bourbon and 5 of which were rye. With that in mind, I'll just preface this by saying this is a long episode. It's a lot of fun, though. You get to go through the whole tasting with us. We probably had 4.5 hours worth of recording. I've cut the actual tasting portion down of it to about an hour, but it's us going through each of those samples. And as you'll hear when we go through it, we kind of deviate from our normal format of giving a score and things like that, since we were picking a barrel. But you will hear us share some of our tasting notes about each barrel, and we're jotting those down as we go through it. But it's just so fun. We're having just a general conversation with Paul and Merry Beth, and just like I mentioned, some of the nicest people. And if you are ever in that area, they're right off of I-24. I think it's less than a mile. As a matter of fact, I think you can see a couple of the silos that are there on the property from the interstate. So it's right off the interstate. It is an absolute must-stop if you ever get by there. And definitely tell them that Aaron and Seth from the Firewater Review sent you. However, if you can't get by there, you can find them online at mbroland.com. That's the letter M, the letter B, ROLAND.com. And you can also find them on social media as well. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram. It is MB Roland Distillery. And they also have a Facebook page as well. They have really cool events that take place throughout the year. They have Picking on the Porch, where they have local bands come and play and open up the gift shop where you can buy bottles, which you can do anytime for that matter. But you can go have a tasting there. They have a wide range of stuff. I'm actually drinking a wheat whiskey that I picked up in the gift shop while we were there right now. Just really great products. And all of their whiskeys are uncut, unfiltered. They never hit water from off the still into the barrel and then onto the bottle. They don't touch water. Everything really is done by hand. I mean, when we went through and took the tour, I mean, there was someone hand stirring the mash when we walked through, and just, like I said, fantastic people doing a fantastic craft and an absolute must stop if you're in the area. So anyway, let's get on with the show. This is the recording of us going through those 15 samples with Paul and Merry Beth Tomaszewski of MB Roland Distillery. I hope you enjoy the show as much as we enjoyed recording it. Cheers.
I mean, I remember last year when we did this, it was scorching hot. This is a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, cool.
We got a lot of our hot weather earlier.
Speaking of red, here he comes.
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously y'all use this for events. Was this here?
Yes.
What was it?
A dairy barn.
A real
Was it?
dairy
Okay.
barn. Yeah.
So this trough that I'm pointing to was basically the place where the cows did their business.
Hosed it down into.
Yeah. And these are the stalls that obviously were all cut out.
And obviously we did the work ourselves. It wasn't professionally done.
You look at the trough work and it's like we're looking at the other concrete going, well, the Amish don't exactly like make this stuff like a glass sheen, like concrete, like most dairy farms do. So I think we're
We can't mess it up any more than what they did.
We even put floor drains in.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We made sure to get pictures because we knew that no one was going to believe that we were actually.
But that side looks better than this side because that was the second side. This was we sort of learned as we
You got some practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
funny.
Many hours of practice on hands and knees. But the ceiling was a nice rusted white with a lot of Roundup hanging from, for some reason, I don't know why they thought it was a good idea, but they hung random bottles of plastic bottles.
They had a lot of redneck engineering set up in
That's
there.
the best kind, right?
No. No, this was like on a whole different level. Like take duct tape and like old boy on TV with his Flex Seal quad, like putting it together with Flex Seal or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Or the whatever they call it, the glue or whatever the hell he uses. And I'm thinking that's equivalent of how they had things set up here.
Yeah.
It was like
The most solid thing that they built on this property was
The rig
the
house.
barn, ironically enough. Do not go in the actual gift shop and expect to find a 90-degree angle. If you want to put a Matchbox car on the floor, it'll roll by itself.
How old is the house?
About 20 years old.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
built in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not.
So we've got, 5 samples here?
You've got
You
5
said
here.
These
are
were
all 53.
53s?
Four-ish plus. Some of these might need another month or two to hit the 4-year mark, but they're all in the same
Neighborhood.
ballpark.
But they're all bourbon, correct?
Yeah, all bourbon. All same recipe bourbon.
And the recipe is what?
It is 78% white corn, 17% rye, 5% malt.
So what do you think this first one, Seth? Got a good sweetness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Got a nice little peppery note too.
Yeah. Little creaminess on the
I've
nose.
had better.
Would you say you've
I'm
had
making a
better?
joke.
I'm sure you have.
Some of this is going to be. This is very good for a floor, though. I would drink this happily.
Got a good mouthfeel.
Yeah.
That's that viscosity from the
Yeah.
distillation and barrel proof.
That's a
Almost
good-
like a little syrupy coating.
Yep.
All right, if I don't dump some of this, I'm going to get in some trouble.
Especially
Meaning-
if y'all are leaving today.
I was going to say I'm driving to West Virginia today, so.
I'm sorry.
Well, we're going to see Smooth Ambler tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I know them, and I'm going to. I texted John Little, and he and I know each other, and he's like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "I want to pick your brain." I'm like, "Cool, we can do that, both."
Drink some of your whiskey.
So I'll drink some of your whiskey. You drink some of mine because we'll have plenty, and go say hi. But I've never been to their place because they're sort of out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, a little pepper,
Red, what did you
some
think?
syrup.
And it's so cool. I'll say this much as we taste these. One thing that I just love to death that happens with these barrels. Doesn't matter what kind of barrel you're tasting or how old it is, but it's just crazy how you got 17% rye, and on some of these it's like rye craziness.
Spice to it.
And then other ones it's like, is there rye in this? You know, it's just fun how that happens. Oh wait, before I do anything.
So how often are you producing 53s?
So we fill, like I said, we fill 5 or 6 barrels a week. And so some of those are used barrels. So about 2 to 3 barrels a week are going to be 53s.
Okay.
And we're filling at least 1 rye barrel a week just to get something in the pipeline, and 1 wheated bourbon a week. I'm sorry, not a week, a month.
That was a lot different.
Yeah. And it's definitely more prominent on this
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
Get more wood.
More oak.
I'm interested how much
Cinnamon, vanilla
spice this
too.
has.
That's a completely different.
Yeah, big time different.
Wow.
This one's
That's
spice
good.
is like,
Wow.
Yeah.
like just
It's like
really muted.
yeah.
But it's like
A
cinnamon.
Cooking spice kind of thing.
type.
It really pops, yeah.
I've never had one of our barrels that has that weird, it's got this kind of spice twang.
Yeah.
That's allspice cinnamon.
Yeah, allspice is the big tasting note that jumps out to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the finish there is almost like a
Hiss-
kind of dry little like white pepper.
It hits the top of my tongue. Big time.
Man, that's different. That's one of the, I don't know if I've ever had that prominent allspice on any bourbon.
You get this like honey versus
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a caramel or vanilla.
Yeah.
Like it's got like a honey sweetness.
Almost like what were those
I don't want
bit
to
of
dump.
honeys?
Oh yeah, yeah. The
One of the what?
Like bit of honeys.
Oh,
Little
yeah.
candies.
Yeah.
This is the coolest cat in the world, except that he is a dick to other cats. If you're a person, he wants to be your buddy, he wants to hang out with you. He is such a dick to all the other cats.
That finish got some good it's got some good nutmeg
Yeah.
taste to it.
Nutmeg, allspice.
Maybe a little bit of clove. Maybe.
Yeah.
you basically just wrap all the cooking spices together. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what you get in this.
yeah. Baking spices.
Got a real.
It's my
real
pantry.
Finish on it too.
This is like this is your whiskey you drink in autumn.
Yeah. It's a fall whiskey.
Look at this, Aaron. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
legs on that thing are ridiculous.
Man, that's never had a bourbon of ours that is that prominent with that kind of upfront baking spice. You get that on the side or as like a nuance, but you don't usually get it where it's just like,
Yeah.
wee.
And it's so funny how these are basically probably sitting next to each other. And it's
Oh yeah, I mean y'all see how big our space is. It's not like one's on one end and one's on the
They're
other.
literally sitting next to each other. And
So your 53s are only about 2 levels high, right?
Yeah, but of course the whole thing's elevated.
Right. Yeah.
That makes a little bit of a difference, I think.
I guess it was very convenient to have a hay barn for your rick house,
It was
right?
very,
Just
it was very convenient.
row the barrels down the natural ramp.
Yep. One thing I've noticed too, guys, with our bourbon, you know how everyone says, "Oh, add some water and it's opened up." Well, this stuff's never touched water, so when you add water to this, it's going through a nice little chemical reaction or two. And one thing that I've noticed is
Hey, Red.
it gets more sweet.
Yeah.
A lot more pronounced as far as sweetness.
Oh yeah.
so where did you say you were going to put the new facility? Is it going to be
Oh, yeah,
right
I'll show
here,
y'all.
Or is it going to be?
I'll show you. Well, I will say this much. We will specifically, because we're obviously not going to immediately use all this land or even a lot of it, and so we'll contract farm it because it's really cool.
Yeah.
So what I am going to try to do is the farmer that actually grows this grain, I'm going to try to get him to grow You've got to taste the second one, Mary Beth.
I will. Have you already poured it, or is this?
No, that's your
okay.
first one right there. So, what we'll end up doing is
I'm
we'll.
gonna share your cup.
This is the third one. That's the second one.
Okay. I'd gotten a little bit busy in that gift shop. As soon as I went in there, I had to. Is this the one, or is this the one?
This is that's the one you need to try.
Okay.
But if with all the acreage, we'd end up having a healthy amount of it, possibly with our white corn, if that's possible. I don't know enough about the ins and outs to make that happen, because I know you can't put it too close to other cornfields because they'll cross-pollinate. But we'll see if we can make that happen. But then we'll definitely have some tobacco growing at all times, as far as every year. And part of it is because it's an immediate point, and hey, this is how we came up with the smoking process to, from an application standpoint. And it just looks cool,
Man, that's a flavor bomb, isn't it?
Allspice, baking spice.
I mean, that one just really packs a punch. You just take a sip of that, and it's just your mouth just explodes with
This
flavor.
one's a little bit more sweeter.
I'd say, yeah, this one's got a
Now,
That
is
one
that the
doesn't
third
need
one
to
that
between
you're
the two
on?
with the spice, but it's
Yeah.
more sweet.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little more caramel.
Yeah, I've never had whiskey from us like that.
Finish on that's nice. Nice cinnamon spice.
Yeah, it's got some good bite to it. They're all just pounding the top of my tongue.
Yeah.
About to get rigged. Just added 5 more to the table.
Yes.
So round number 2.
25-gallon barrels.
These are all 25s. Some of these are 3 years old.
Wow, that third one's a lot smoother and softer on the
Yeah.
palate.
It's very soft and sweet. You get a lot more caramel and almost
Yeah.
like a almost like a burnt brown sugar.
Yeah.
Kinda coming through on
It's almost like a wheated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about when we were first tasting, the spice jumps out, and then some
Right.
it's like almost muted.
Finish keeps going though, yeah.
The public.
I get a lot more caramel on this one.
It's almost like a burnt brown sugar. Not so much a.
Yeah.
I could just sit there and smell this.
That one's
one.
even softer than the other one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very soft. It's very soft.
I get this, like, sweet cinnamon.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's very soft, and it's very coating of the tongue at the same time, like you were talking. And I wouldn't have dumped it except for the fact that
We've got a lot to go through.
Let's go through a lot of driving. And we got another show to record tonight.
Oh wow.
Oh goodness, are y'all going back to Nashville?
We're going back to Nashville, and we're staying at a place that these guys have been on our podcast before. They do a podcast called The Dad's Drinking Bourbon out of Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
And we're staying at one of their guys' Airbnb. So
Oh, that's cool.
They're coming
Yes.
tonight, and we're recording with them for their show.
Nice.
So
Good on. Man, big party going on here today.
We'll be busy today.
nothing wrong with that.
No.
No, not a bit. Absolutely.
Honestly, y'all, and I say this in a very humble way, obviously. Okay, so I was here running the gift shop by myself when I'd literally look down the driveway and go, is anyone going to come? Because that was the main way we got
Yeah.
money. And now it's
Here's
like,
one. We got one more. Here.
now it's like we got all these
Oh my
people.
gosh.
We got all these people coming in, and I'm just
Holy
like
cow. This is
so thankful.
Here, mine.
night and day different than anything we've poured in any of these glasses so far.
Number butterscotch.
Yes.
Oh, that is a
yes.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
That's like Old Taylor.
That reminds me of the one.
Oh,
Holy
that is
cow.
butterscotch. You're exactly
Yes.
right. That is nothing but butterscotch. That's insane.
Oh my
That's-
gosh.
You could put that,
That is
in a
my
room
favorite
freshener.
by far. Wow.
That's insane.
So do we need to taste the 20?
I have chills right now.
That is
I have chills.
crazy good.
I mean, it's butterscotch nose. It's
Tell
got,
it.
It is a Werther's original. I know.
yeah,
It is
It's
literally
got,
You are
right.
exactly right.
It's
a
got-
liquid
wow.
Werther's.
it's got just enough of a little bit of spice
At the
on the
end,
very
yeah.
end. Yeah.
That is
Holy
insanity.
smokes.
And I taste the oak in this more than I did any of the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is
Oh my
about.
God.
This one's almost 5 years old.
So this is the oldest one?
Yeah.
then?
That you're tasting, yeah.
Wow.
That's nuts.
If we want to go 53-gallon route, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'll pay the other whatever's left. It's on my tab. That is insane.
Or if y'all just want half of it, I'm sure we could sell the other half.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Our employees right now
no.
would probably buy a case apiece. I've got one customer that has
He
been,
buys bourbon by the case or two.
especially when it's in a 4 or 5 year. This one, he would probably be like, "Can I have 6 cases
Yeah.
of that?"
Wow.
That's amazing.
Did you end up contacting him? We got his stuff bottled.
Okay, no, I'll send him an email. He'll be happy to know.
Send
that.
him an email.
And to think that this is probably between 105 and 110.
Yeah.
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 It drinks it drinks like
It's
90.
90 proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90 proof all the way, and just, I mean, silky smooth, and
That is
Hey, guys.
amazing.
Responsibility.
this one I will not.
I'm waiting for someone to call us out and say, at some point, I could see this happening down the road. You only make barrel proof bourbon. You're not being, promoting social responsibility because you only make barrel proof bourbon.
Add water to it if you want.
Exactly, yeah.
Add what you like to it.
We invite you to water it down to whatever you wish it to be.
You can drop the proof, you can add it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I say drink what you like, how you like it. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
That's one of the most favorite ones that I've actually sampled out of our stock. That is true butterscotch. I mean, through and through.
Good Lord.
I'm like shaking with
Man.
excitement.
I know. That's why I say I got chills.
Reminded me of that commercial with the grandfather giving the Werther's original.
Yeah.
And actually, out of the different barrel picks that we've done, I don't think that barrel has been sampled by anyone. Or if it had not been
Where it's at.
evolved
Where it's
to the
at.
level that it is right now.
Yeah, I'm not pouring this one out. Sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are on to 25.
So my note on that one was butterscotch, exclamation point, exclamation point.
That's all I wrote
exclamation
down.
Explosion.
So,
Mine's butterscotch, star, by.
point. Yeah.
Right check.
Yeah, that's straight
do you
up
need this? at all?
old Taylor.
Man.
Because those old Taylors would either be butterscotch bombs or brown sugar bombs.
Yeah.
One of the two. Like that's what they always were.
Just a hair. I don't need a ton. That's good. And sometimes I don't know if it's really fair to even tell you the barrel size. I'd rather you actually taste it before you know the barrel size, because sometimes it's a surprise.
It is, but I don't know that it matters a whole lot. I mean,
Some people have preconceived notions, though.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I'd rather you just sample it, and then we'll tell you if whatever your pick is. We'll let you know.
I mean, I've had now 25s and 53s from y'all, and to me it doesn't matter.
Well, the rye, we have no basis of comparison.
Yeah.
The bourbon, we're starting to get it, but I mean the rye is. That's actually one of my favorite whiskeys we make.
Yeah.
That has that general store flavor
Yeah.
to me, and it's pretty darn smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as sipping goes.
Yeah.
Definitely not at the level of that last one, but it was good.
It's different. Everyone's palates is different. That's translation. Your palate is not good. That was like we were at this show where obviously these people that were somewhat whiskey novices. Is married or is a very young millennial. No offense.
I'm not millennial.
Well, like Taylor, who works for me, he's like, I don't claim that generation. I'm sitting out that generation.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're very young. They're in their like early, maybe mid-20s, and they're sitting there like
Seth Stearns.
they had they're like,
Oh, that's nice.
it tastes completely off.
Oh my
It does-
goodness, it
you know, it
does.
just tastes, and it's like we're like, well, we use white corn. We don't really make our stuff the same way as a lot of other people do. And then they're like, oh, it just tastes so weird. And it's like, well, everyone's palate's different.
Well, I think a big difference is the corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brings out a
Because you get into the non-GMO and the hybrids and all that other stuff nowadays. I mean, you know, talking about the old Taylors and the old granddads and, you know, even some of the Stitzel-Weller stuff. I mean, they were using basically what y'all are using for corn back then. It was before all the big change. So I think that, in my opinion, is a huge difference maker.
Well, and it's food grade. I mean, it's the stuff that you're going to put on your
Yeah,
on
this
your
is
table.
literally stuff. The stuff that we're using becomes food products.
Yeah.
Grits and chips and things, tortillas and things like that.
Or you buy it at your local farmer's market. I mean, it is, you know, it's going to be your peaches and cream or your white corn, you know.
It costs more. It's not. I mean, for a distillery like us, we're not talking a huge amount difference. Now, if you are Jim Beam or Wild Turkey, that difference compounds to ridiculous money for them.
Yeah.
Because of the volume that they're making.
Right.
And it's funny because now I'm starting to do, you know, put pen to paper for projections, you know, if we do this build out and everything, and it's like, yeah, that starts to become a little more painful, that extra X amount of dollars per pound or per bushel or cents or whatever it is, and it's like, oh yeah, you see how that works, you know.
Yeah.
And the barrels we use cost more because they're Kelvin barrels that are wood fired. They don't use gas. And so they actually char the inside of the barrel with a wood fire like it would have been done 100 years ago.
So that brings a question. With the expansion, do you foresee changing anything that you're doing? I mean, of course, the easy answer is no.
Well, the
but-
reason that's why I told you we're going to stick with pot still. I like this a lot.
I do too. I was
It's got
going to
a
say.
great sweetness to it. Yeah.
We're gonna
It's really neat.
We're gonna stick with pot stills.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I called Rob Sherman at Vendome, and you know I'm talking. And he's like, I can't talk into columns still. I said, Rob, I said we've been doing this 10 years. We've always been a pot still operation. I said I'd love to install a column and you know shave off a few cents on every bushel as far as cost and efficiency. I said, but I also know that our numbers right now are not bad as far as our yields and production and everything like that.
And what we're putting out, we're proud of.
And,
we
and
want it to stay that way,
and it's
you
like
know?
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know.
Our goal has never been to be one of the biggest. Never.
Well, even if
never
we do
wanted-
this build out, we're still a drop in the bucket.
But we did want to be one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately
And just very
all we're
unique,
concerned
you know.
about.
I think our main draw to here was the unlabeled, filtered, super unique.
Absolutely.
You know,
Well, I mean, who wants to be,
Did everyone get the latest one before I
Yeah.
move on?
What was that?
25. So 7.
Yeah.
Second.
So 7 total.
Okay, number 7.
But I mean, why start a distillery if you're not going to stand out?
Well, when we started it,
There's
it
no
wasn't
sense.
really consciously thought out on doing the distillation and barrel proof. That just sort of happened because we were like, well, isn't that the way we should make it? Because that's the way I would want it. Mm-hmm. I would want this stuff straight out of the barrel. I would want it uncut and because I was into Scotch too, and I technically still am. But a lot of this stuff with non-chill filtration and all that, and things like that, it's like,
It was real creamy
I
too.
like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
nose.
Feel bad because we kind of lost tasting notes after that butterscotch.
yeah.
But these past 3 have been good. Like you said, the last one had a great flavor, real sweet. This
Yeah.
one,
I'm not
it's
crazy
real
about
creamy.
this one's flavor only because for me it's a little drier. It
It's
doesn't
got-
have as much
yeah.
sweetness.
Yeah.
But see, I do like that. Again, so much of our
Some
stuff
people
is
really
a
like
general
that.
store feel. I mean, I truly feel like if you were to walk into a general store 100 years ago, you would be smelling a lot of these notes, whether
like
it's
to
from
think-
dry
I'd like
items
to think that whiskey would have a lot of that
or
flavor
smoked
too.
ham,
Yeah.
or, you know.
So the current rick house that you have is, say it's 2 stories. I mean, because you've got at
The
least
one
2
we're going to
racks.
do now is, or that we're going to build is be 6.
Okay,
They're
that's-
653s high.
That's what I was going to ask.
But it's also going to be black.
Why?
Is that more heat conduction? Yeah.
Yeah. Part of it
Well,
also.
plus
That
then,
thing's
you,
gonna
then
bake.
you hide.
Yeah.
You hide all the.
It's
the
going to have better
evaporation and all.
ventilation, which is good because to help bring the temperature up quicker and down
Yeah.
quicker, you know,
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
But it still should have some of the very same aging effects that we currently experience with the dairy farm.
And you said that's all going to be all 53s?
No. I mean, we'll pack as many 25s, but that'll be 75% 53.
Yeah.
The new rick house will be 75% 53.
At this point, we've
I told
gone
them
over the hill of
Yeah, we've kind of started that process of
Yeah.
walking off of the 25. Now, the ironic part is we go to do the build out, and we'll have to. It still will be a minority portion of our new barrels filled, but we'll have to fill a lot of 25s.
Yeah.
To make the dollars and cents work. And really, we haven't had anyone come at us and be like, "Oh, that's just not good." Or, I mean, there are a handful of people that get snobby about it needs to be a 53 gallon, it needs to be
Yeah.
sold, and things like that. But that's a minority portion of the market out there.
Well, and I understand. I mean, you've got folks that,
There's expectations.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot to live up to. These guys are putting out great juice, and if we can't, we're not going to be the same thing, but if we can't compete on a similar
at least
level,
a quality level.
yeah.
I mean, we can't compete on size or volume.
You know,
Well, that's what makes it a craft,
right,
though.
right.
Well, that's the other thing too. Oh, that's
I like that.
easy drinking right there.
I say even the nose is.
It's real soft.
Yeah.
Yep, very soft. You don't get a lot of spice in that at all.
Oh, goodness.
But the
Excuse
that's
me?
another thing size-wise. When I started doing projections, I was like, well, we don't want to be so big that we're not craft anymore. And of course, there's not a specifically defined definition of it.
Right.
That is easy drinking.
And we would be a lot bigger than we are now, but I mean, that would be the biggest focus, is trying to maintain the same identity and the same. People can look at us and go, oh, you're not craft anymore. And it's like, well, when you put in your time, as long as you keep your mindset the same and your general production the same, yes, we're still craft. I mean, we're not
We're never going to be in the market where we're not called craft. There's no way.
Well, we're not an unnamed distillery that I am going to point out and say they magically want to say they're craft bourbon, even though they're owned by one of the conglomerates and built by one of the conglomerates. And they're like, we're craft too, because we say we're craft because we think we do a good job, and that defines craft.
Again, some of this stuff, please edit out.
I'm not
No,
saying
I
who
think
it
this is all-
I'm not saying who it is.
No, this is all fantastic.
I'm not dropping a
information.
name.
Well, we're not trying to impugn on someone
No.
else's
Yeah.
business either. That one was very, very soft.
Yeah.
Actually, I got cream corn in that.
Yeah.
I got cream corn wrestling in that.
Cream corn wrestling.
Yep.
Definitely sweeter.
Cut him off. He's talking about wrestling and fighting at this point.
It's got a good finish. That they all have good finishes.
Yeah.
That's got that viscosity though, that
Yeah.
creamy kind of mouth
Yep.
coating.
Yep.
All right, guys, this is the last
This is
of
10.
the bourbon.
That's got a good nose to it.
Yeah. I like literally think dusty. The first thought that comes to mind is dusty.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely brown sugar.
leather-bound book.
I think one of the best tasting notes that I've read lately was
Oh, that's good.
That's amazing.
That is good. Oh, that could be
Chris Hart.
Oh, wow.
Chris
That's
Hart did
sweet.
a,
Yeah.
did
Oh
a
my
tasting
God.
of the Redemption Rye that was like 40 years old or something like that. It was like 35 or 40 years old.
Where did they age that at? For
I
that type of
have no
MGP,
idea.
but I mean, that would have been
No,
in the
where?
No.
What location?
middle of the region.
But he said it tasted like dirty old cabin. That was his.
That's
that
an
was his-
interesting note.
that was his tasting note.
Man, that is.
And I'm sitting there
Like, how many
thinking,
times have you
That-
tasted?
I know that smell. That's the worst part. I know that smell.
yeah, that's the thing is like I was saying on some of this, when I say old general store or going into an old building that's 150 years old, in this area a lot of those buildings were used as tobacco warehouses, and so they have that really rich, deep, woody
tobacco.
smoke. Yeah, exactly. And
That
so
charry,
yes, and so
And
some of this
I'll
is
be
like,
honest with you. I mean, I remember being a kid, like a little kid, watching westerns, and thinking
That's
in my
good.
head, because you see, I don't know if y'all went through the same logic as I did as a kid. I never had a desire to drink whiskey, but I would sit there and watch, whether it's people, but particularly in the movies, especially older movies, they're sitting there drinking this stuff, and I had this thought in my head, like I thought it should taste if they're drinking it and they like it and it tastes good. And to me, especially like in the westerns, it should taste like old and
Dusty.
yeah.
Leathery.
And and then I started getting into bourbon, and I'm like, it really doesn't have that. But the problem is bourbon now has been so geared towards efficiency.
Yeah.
And before craft distilling became something, every distillery was an industrialized
Yeah.
operation. Y'all know that.
Yeah.
And that's
Computers run everything. It's all
Yep.
press a
Exactly.
button and then it does it. There's no
Yep.
dumping and there's
Yep.
no
and ours is
stirring.
handmade.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do enjoy about the bourbon that we have. Our ultimate goal is when you get it back home, it's intimate.
Yeah.
I know
I've
that
watched the
sounds
guys
goofy, but it's
stirring
intimate.
The grits.
Yeah.
Where in a Wild Turkey or a Jim Beam, there's a button they go,
yeah.
Yep.
okay, now it's been 2 hours, it's done. Okay, now hit this button.
Yeah. And that's actually like a lot of small craft distilleries.
I'm going to give you to your dad.
They're like wiring them in or programming them so they can
I know,
literally run them
smarty
from an
pants, I don't
iPhone or
need
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really have a desire to do that. Thank you.
Your turn.
Your
To
turn to babysit.
That's right. I'm gonna go
Babysit
get
Red.
us food. I hope everybody likes authentic street tacos.
Oh yeah.
Works for me.
Tamale too. I'll tell y'all this. So I'll give y'all a little inside baseball here. So I've always had an interest. I love tequila, good tequila.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking mixto. We're talking
Yeah.
reposado or anejo, 100% blue agave. Preferably the more flavor the better, as opposed to something that has like, just kind of a flat tequila flavor to it. And when we went out west, I saw a few American agave products and everything, and I started thinking I came up with this literally a couple months ago, and I was like, we could buy agave syrup, and there's a place where we can get it, and it's really good quality. It's 100% blue agave syrup out of Dayton, so it's right down the road. We could buy agave syrup, and we could make a product, and then we could age it in the bourbon barrels. And reposado tequila usually is not aged that long. It's aged for maybe 6 months. Anejo is a year plus.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there thinking we could make a product that is aged, and we've got excess dumped barrels at this point.
Yeah.
So we could fill those, and we could age this agave product, and then we could market it and sell it out of the gift shop, because we're selling a lot of whiskey out of the gift shop, and I'm like, how could we sell less whiskey out of the gift shop, but I don't want to take it away. And I'm thinking, well, if we have this product that we can hand sell a lot better, we can make it. And so my idea is it'll be 100% blue agave, and I've got literally, when I get back on Monday, I'm going to look at this. I've got 2 agave samples as far as syrup and see if there's a real difference. But we'll call it, of course, you'll put on there 100% blue agave spirits, but the marketing name will be Kentuckila.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Yeah.
It'll be aged in the
That's
bourbon
awesome.
barrel. And so we'll have still and barrel proof in Spanish, you know.
And that also
And-
gets me wondering, because I don't think I've ever had a tequila over 100 proof.
That's the other thing too, because I'm like, I've had one that's 100 proof. To get the way tequila works, if you understand the market, is all the good shit they keep
Yeah, oh yeah.
in Mexico.
yeah.
We get basically the crumbs, the
leftovers.
leftovers, yeah. And so the reason why the baseline for tequila is always 80 or 86 or something proof, for one, they want it to be smooth,
Yeah.
i.e. lower proof.
Yeah.
I think the reason why all of our stuff in America is so low proof and you don't have like barrel proof tequila is because they don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
They've got access to such a relatively small amount.
that? Did
They
you
don't
like
want to
that?
sit there and not water it down to 80 or 90 proof. So yeah, we'll do ours still
Yeah. just
distillation of, and we'll let a little bit go for a year and call it añejo, or a year or more, whatever. But it'll be fun because it's, you know, we'll have, instead of the corn stalks, we'll have agave,
That's cool.
you
That's
know,
awesome.
on there, and it's, we can't technically call it tequila, but I think
Right.
that
Is this round 3?
this is the
How much do,
we
how much
thought we
do,
were
how much,
drinking.
how much do 2 barrels cost?
Or 3.
Now,
We
I've
might
got-
have to do
I've
2
got-
barrels.
I've got earmarked 2 fantastic bourbons already. So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that 53 is a must. That butterscotch is a
Yes.
must.
Absolutely.
But
So I'm just going to put on these R1 and then R2.
so yeah, so you're gonna do a tequila, or you can't technically call it tequila.
Well,
but
we'll
it's
start
gonna be
making enough
agave
just-
spirit.
yeah.
Kentuckila.
So
tequila.
So I guess
That's awesome.
distilling agave, how can you get it to about the same proof, or is it going to be?
Yes, we can dial that in because you get it as a syrup and you just basically add as much water as you want to get it to the
Okay.
right sugar content. It's really, I've made rum with molasses, and so this is the same concept. And so it's really easy, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. There's no mashing.
Yeah.
You're just taking a syrup, you're adding water, and then of course any nutrients or yeast or anything like that. But it's one of those things where it's not something we're going to flip in that's going to take our bourbon over like by storm. It still might be like,
But I think the tequila
to-
lovers are going
yes,
to die for it, and I love tequila, so I'm very
a
interested.
lot of bourbon people love tequila.
Yeah.
A lot of bourbon people love to. Here's what I figured out about tequila. The important part is, did you have a very bad experience with tequila growing up? I
Yeah.
never did.
Yeah.
The first time I ever put tequila to my lips, I was probably 20 or 21 years
Yeah.
old, and it was in Mexico when we were there, and it was sipping. It was never. I've shot it for fun, like, oh yeah, I've done it. Okay, salt and lime, yet, but not
Yeah.
like 10 shots lined up, and then the next day you're like,
Yeah. That was the first alcohol I ever drank was tequila.
that's the problem. Why you're not
Yeah.
a tequila
And what's
fan.
the brand that has a little sombrero for the top?
Oh,
I
that
don't know.
was, yeah, it's even worse. If
Yeah,
there's a
that
sombrero
one
on
was
top.
bad.
Yeah, don't do it.
It was bad.
bottom shelf.
So,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
you said have you done a rum for here?
Yeah.
Or, so and it's sold in the gift shop, or
Well, the reason why I'd love to do a rum again, and we probably will, especially once we
Oh,
do
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
just for fun and have a batch. Like we do our brandy now, we literally do one batch of brandy a year,
yeah,
and it's you can almost consider it important for the purpose of learning, and,
Yeah.
and you know, just experience. But the problem with rum is, I would say much less so than a product like a tequila kind of product, is people don't want rum when they come to Kentucky.
Right.
There's no way.
but you feel that's coming because I feel a lot of
It
people
could
are turning.
be.
You know, well,
I-
not really.
that-
I wouldn't say turning, but you know, a lot of the bourbon people are starting to get into rums and realizing, you know, the same qualities are there and the same flavors
Yes.
are there.
Thanks, Fred Minnick. But I mean, to that point, though, I mean, you get into the four squares, so you've got a higher proof rum that is partially aged in used bourbon casks, and it's just, I mean, it's got a great balance of the sweetness and the spiciness at a higher proof. It's like no other rum that most people have ever had.
Well, I think rum's almost like, in some ways, tequila, because a lot of rum has been distilled at a very high proof.
Right.
And if we were to do it our way, low proof distillation and age it in a barrel, uncut, unfiltered, and all that fun stuff, I think I know it would be good. It's just the question of what it would or wouldn't take away from production, because that's the, I guess, the worst part about success is as you're filling barrels and as you're trying to make more product, you know, it's like anything that you do is going to get in the way of trying to focus on that additional bourbon or rye whiskey or whatever we're making. Plus, I don't know, I just feel like obviously there's a lot less, like you were talking about, you've never had a tequila above 100 proof. There's more of that interest and desire out there versus rums. You can get barrel proof rums, you know, and I think there's more variety accessible to us without having to go to the islands or something like that, compared to tequila, where it's from an accessibility standpoint. If you go to, I mean, there's little bitty mom and pop, if you want to call it that, distilleries making tequila and mezcal and sodal and these other Mexican spirits that we've never heard of or known about or have any clue about, and they're so different and unique, versus, you know, rum, which is generally, they're more established places. You know, they're going to make, a lot of them are just making a white rum. That's all they're churning out.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good rye.
So so
It's got
we've
a
moved
super sweet.
to trying the rye.
It's got a sweet nose, but there's more spice on
the palate's very. It's got a nice spice. It kind of, the finish gets
Finish
real dry.
has a
Yeah.
And then almost like peppery. And I get, I don't know, it's not oak. I want to say it's almost like a cedar.
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I'm catching there, and it's great
Yeah.
rye. It's I really like it. So we are moving from bourbon to rye now. So we're going to go through 5 different ryes. So we've done 10 bourbons. We're doing 5 ryes.
Now, these are all 25-gallon barrels in the rice?
Yes.
correct?
And that was number 1.
Yeah. Or number
Just for
11.
the
Or number
listeners that are
11.
listening. And
11, whatever you want to look at it.
Yeah, the really tough job. So this is what we joke about at the distillery, that people think, oh, this is what you do every day. And it's like, no, I do this maybe once a month.
That's what I was
you
going
know?
to ask, like, how often are you actually thieving?
Oh, no,
tasting?
at this point, it's probably more like every week or two. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, and I told myself this years ago, because we've been doing this now 10 years, I told myself, when we get to the point to where it's an annoyance to, quote unquote, have to taste whiskey, we know we've made it.
yeah.
And we're there now, because we'll be like, I'll either be out of town for a day or two, and I'll come back
and you're like, okay, now I've got to go taste
a
all
bunch
this
of whiskey,
concentrate. Now I gotta
but
go
I've got all this other stuff to do too, you know.
So do you have any people picked out that have similar palate profiles
So
that you?
how many do you
that you could have
use,
tastes?
Like when you do the tasting, is it just you?
No.
Is it,
It's just
is it
you
not
and-
like a group of.
It's we try to incorporate everyone that's part
good.
of the you know that's an integral team member, which is just about everyone that works here full time.
That's good.
Okay.
And then Mary Beth, ironically,
Is she the decision
She is
maker?
the palate.
She is the discerning palate. She is.
I remember you mentioned that on the first time you were on the.
She has very much got she's got a sharp palate, and I think part of that comes with, you know, she's a naturally good cook from the standpoint of food and everything like that, and there's so much involved.
Great names.
I think I might like this one better.
Yeah, the nose on
Nose-
it is-
nose
Just by the
wise, I think
nose.
stands out.
Yeah.
Well, that's more of a rye than the first.
You know,
the first
I
one's-
get rye on the nose, but what's really popping is almost like a vanilla and
Yes. There's a definite sweetness
Now,
there, too.
Nice sweetness popping
I'll tell
in.
y'all up front, because we have a healthy amount of the white corn in there. It's 68% rye, and so
Okay.
there's still a big chunk of white corn in there.
But you're just about flipping Whereas
our
you've got
bourbon.
whereas you have the
So rye versus corn is pretty
Yeah.
much just flipped. That still does have a real.
That's good.
Real
I
big
thought I
sweet.
remembered that from when we had you on, that it's almost the flipped recipe. That's a good rye.
It's I feel like the mouthfeel is lacking just a little bit. It's a little bit thinner than some
It
of the other
is.
ones.
That would be one of those that
And,
you may have to
uh,
let it sit for a couple more
Like the
months.
one we ended
Yeah,
up
like
picking
corn
last
beer,
year.
like, it
We
needs to
liked it,
sit.
but I thought it was a little thin. We let it
Yeah,
sit
it's a
for
little-
that
I
2
agree with
months.
That
And,
one's a little thin. It would have to sit for.
and the finish,
Which is
the
ironic
finish is
'cause it's one of the
good,
older
but
ones
I
we-
feel like it drops off
Yeah.
on the finish just a little. Like, it's
what
still
you
there,
call-
but
it's the medium to long.
yeah.
It's not a long finish. It's that medium to long area.
Now, a lot of distilleries are obviously doing high rye mash bills, and I'm sure we do what we call a single mash every few months, and we'll do something that's 90, 95, 100, whatever percent rye, and maybe the malt will be a rye malt. Just again for education, and it's good from the standpoint of experience to have that in your wheelhouse. But I do like a rye that has a roundness to it, and it's hard to get that, in my opinion, when you have a rye that's 95% rye.
So when you're doing those experiments, you could say, is that something you would release at a later date, like as an experimental?
Well, just like
in the
this
gift
hemp
shop?
bourbon,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Could be a
at a
gift
later
shop
date,
on-
It will be
Like,
Kentucky only.
yeah.
Yes.
That was definitely a unique whiskey, the hemp, because I remember you telling me now, because I think we had talked about it
Yeah.
a little bit last night. But
You
then
said pickles.
Yeah.
when you first came up, I remember
Yeah.
us doing a show after that, and you mentioned in pickles.
Oh yeah,
but I was definitely picking it up on the nose.
Yeah.
But the taste, it's there. Like I said, I called it pickled corn.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not that there's.
So I don't know if
such
we
a
were
thing, but-
recording when we were talking about it earlier.
You're the first
Last
person.
year, when I tried it, it was bread and butter pickles all day. Where this time it's picked up a lot more of those barrel notes to
The
it.
sweetness. It's got a little spice
Yeah.
to it.
Definitely a unique whiskey, though. So I noticed it was bottle 1 of 3. Where are the other 3? Or the other 2, rather.
But that was just for that event.
Oh. Because after you leave at 12:30, I was going to start looking for the other 2.
No, it's bottle 1 of 3, and the other 2 went to the event and got used. And
Gotcha.
This was one that we hijacked out of there.
These all got great noses.
Yeah, they do. Even better.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Viscosity
Yeah.
central.
That's so much thicker than the other two.
Wow, that is super creamy butter.
Yep.
Almost syrupy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got this weird, like, buttery.
I hate dumping these, but I got to.
So age difference between
All these
those.
are similar. All these are similar. I mean, it's not even worth. We're talking days, weeks, months kind
Okay.
of difference.
Now, will you ever do Rise and 53s?
We just started this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only problem with that one is there's very little rye in it, kind of the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
that
a ton
one.
of
Actually,
spice.
that one's everything is great except the rye itself isn't jumping out
It
that
doesn't
much.
pronounce your pronounce.
But it's still got enough spice to it, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's
like-
not rye spice.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
there's
it's
still
not like
enough
punching
to it.
the
Yeah.
I feel like if you give that to anyone, they'd think it was just a regular bourbon. They wouldn't
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I don't like rye. I'm not going to try that." They would
I think it's
that
a
would
high
be, that
rye
would be what
bourbon.
you would
Yeah.
give to
Yeah.
him and say, hey, if you don't like rye, try this.
So that's an interesting point, because the bourbon that he picked. So I have a bottle of the bourbon that he picked and a bottle of the rye from batch 1, and I have a very close friend of mine, huge high wheat bourbon guy. Came over, he's not into rye whatsoever. Way more preferred the batch 1 of your rye over the bourbon.
Wow.
He said, "I don't think I've ever said that, but I prefer the rye over the bourbon."
We have a high rye bourbon. Y'all can try.
That's what I was going to ask you about. I was wondering what
Yeah,
the
we saw
different
it in
mash
the
bill
gift
is compared.
It's basically double our regular
Okay.
rye.
And we saw it in the gift shop,
So that would
and
be
I got
what,
excited.
33, 34?
I think it's 33% rye.
33.
Yeah. All right, this is number
going on?
4 on the rye. So just out of curiosity, Seth, when y'all go to edit this, how many times do you have to listen to it to actually figure out what you want to use?
That's the funny thing. When I post these podcasts, I never listen to them after.
No.
That's what I'm
make
saying.
it.
I've listened to them so much.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Editing them.
Yeah.
I never listen to them after they.
Yeah, you don't need to.
I would say I go through them.
You're like writing your own book and then having to read it.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I go through them at least twice, just editing. Like I'll go through and make all the cuts that I need to do, and then make sure
Double check yourself.
make sure everything lines up, and then basically go back through it 2 full times. But then there's sections of it, especially where you have to make cuts or big edits.
Yeah.
You'll listen to those 5-6 times.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, at least.
Man, they need to pay you more, you know.
Right. But you're paying me now.
This is the payment, or reward. I don't know, whatever way you want to word it.
Oh, that tastes like rye.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I said, that one's much more rye forward.
It's got great spice, great rice spice, light sweetness, a little bit of
There's
pepper.
like a light vanilla,
That's what I was.
Tails
That's
off.
what I was getting on the nose.
Yeah.
like tails off. But it's got those.
It's a confused customer.
Cinnamon pepper notes.
It's not. It's obviously one of the guys going on this trip.
Can I park here?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this
go around
is this
that
where I'm supposed to park? Behind the building? We've actually never had anyone do that, so I can't talk too bad about the general public doing that because they have.
Although Seth parked on the side of the building today.
Yeah, I parked with the employees today.
Well, I think you were kind of thinking we're going to be here a couple of minutes. So
Yes. One or
when you
two.
parked over there, I'm like, wow, that makes sense. You
I
know?
didn't even think, well, because we
We're
got out of the
getting out of
car,
the
and
way.
I asked
Yeah.
her, should I move over here to the visitor
Well, the other
parking?"
thing too is a lot of people park over there thinking, oh, the employees are parking over here. That's where I need to park because that's the best place to park. And it's like, no, dude, you've got a much longer way to walk if you park over there. If you park where our signs are, you actually have you're the shortest walk to the sidewalk into the door.
So with all, because I know you've been doing a lot of this traveling, right? How often are you still active, like in the distillery every day? Like, is it? Because I know it used to be like every day you're in there. You're
Well, no,
mixing, you're
technically,
doing, like you're.
I probably go in there at least once every day, at least to converse with everyone what's
Yeah.
going on and to make sure everything is kind of, running smoothly. But general day-to-day production, it is not that often. It's quite rare for me to go in there and physically put mash in the mash.
Because I know last year you were still. You told us a couple of days a week you were going in there and you were still kind of
Maybe do one or two
one
things.
or two things.
Yeah.
You were still helping out a little bit.
And I still deal with a lot of the daily tracking of everything. I'm starting to get away from that a little bit, but it's going to be a bit before that happens. And of course, when we do that over there, I'm sure I'll get more involved in it again, or have to, just to make sure that everything
things
grows
going,
properly.
Everything grows.
But and all of that's online. You can touch it and mess with it anywhere. So
Yeah.
like if I go to California on a business trip, I take my laptop with me and I can mess with all that.
That's good.
I'm going to take a quick break
Yeah.
over there.
Over yonder.
The other side. Okay, so
Any of these rice jumping out at you?
I like the last one. the
I like
best.
Yeah.
the last one the best.
That one was real. It really hit rye for
Yeah.
me.
I think the one that's a wild card is that third one. That
Yeah, it was
crazy-
real
Yes.
creamy, buttery.
Yeah.
Like
But it didn't have
Yeah.
any rye, but it was a really
Yeah.
it was a good, solid whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
any way you look at it, it's
Like
got
that
some
one,
rye, but
that
it
one
was,
was just a really good whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would say, oh, I love it because it's rye. That was just a fantastic whiskey.
Yeah.
so.
I
Are
put
we
that
in
one.
agreement on the butterscotch?
Yes.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
that was.
So
okay.
right now, I've
Dude,
got,
I knows that thing.
Are we
Honestly,
thinking
I
maybe
would-
two, or maybe just do the butterscotch and maybe try rye next year? Because I mean I know
'Cause right
we were
now-
focused on rye this year, but
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah, I
that,
can't
that
pass.
just
I I can't
blew
pass
my
that.
mind.
I can't
I
pass
mean,
that.
I feel you said you got
Chills?
I
I
had
got
the
chills.
shivers, I had the shakes. I was so excited about it. I mean, I it's been a long time since I've been that excited.
Often are you?
So number 5.
This
I
is
guess.
the last one. Oh boy. Then it comes down to duking them up one against the other, I guess.
Whoa.
It's good news, yeah.
It's got a lot of vanilla.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking of vanilla wafer when I
Yeah.
smelled it.
That does smell like those
Yeah.
little
Vanilla
wafers, like
wafer with just a hint of. It has that just a little hint of baking spice.
Yep.
It's popping out like
Cinnamon,
a
of
little
course.
cinnamon, but I'm really catching I think clove on it. But
That's it right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's got a
It tastes like
lot
the-
of flavor.
It tastes a lot like the. It's got the mouthfeel.
I got the
That
chills
nailed it.
again.
It's got the spice.
Chills
Okay,
again.
so,
All right, that one's easy. So that's the one y'all want right there for
well, I
Rob.
don't know.
rye.
They're really
We're discussing two.
that
Yeah.
53-gallon butterscotch bomb.
Yes. Sorry, Ed. You may get third place.
Does he listen to this?
I don't know. If he's listening,
There was some pretty decent third place.
there's some good third place potential for sure. But man,
I had like if
Wow.
I was
That's good.
doing the pick like we did last time, I had at least 5 that I would take right now.
they're all solid. I mean, I cannot say anything about anything that I've tried today.
Like I think whatever they
But-
don't take, I think you've got legit
When you-
5 or 6 single barrels that you could just bottle right
Yes,
now or
absolutely.
within the next couple months and sell them as single barrels.
Absolutely.
Well, the good part is when we do single barrels, it's not. There are a lot of the big boys when they do single barrel for themselves, they look at a consistency of flavor, a certain flavor profile, and we don't do that. We just go, that tastes freaking awesome. We don't need to blend that. That's a single barrel.
Yep.
Boom, done, and it's set aside. And it could. The good part about that is we think they're good for sure, and it's got a lot of good flavors. The bad part is the average person might taste one single barrel, and then the next one they try is going to be completely out of the world different, and they may not like it near as much because everyone's palate is different, and that's true, and especially in this case that applies. So in the whole aspect of single barrels, first of all, we don't have the volume to choose from to have a consistent flavor.
Oh yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. I mean, if you're looking just unique wise, I mean that one we had number 3, the first one
Yes.
when we tried that
Yeah.
spice.
Was it
No,
three
no,
or
Number two.
That
Number
spice
two.
bomb. I
Two.
mean,
Yeah, it was
just
Yes.
tons of spice.
Like,
I
if
mean,
you
it
had
was.
Oh, that was the allspice one.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
If
just
you had
fall
told me
fall
that
bourbon.
was a
I mean,
rye, I'd have believed you.
Yeah.
Because it was just so
Super spice
Yeah.
heavy.
spice.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Like, I wouldn't
sitting
believe
out
that
on the
kind of
front
bourbon.
porch and like
With the pumpkins
October
out there.
pumpkin. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
That is what
Yeah,
that
nice
is.
slice of pumpkin pie.
You've got me wishing
Oh.
away the next. You got me wishing away the next 2 months.
You take that home and pair it with that spiced zucchini bread.
Zucchini
Oh
bread.
man.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got a decision on your hands now.
There's.
Well, I think
don't
that's
know.
probably your favorite rye.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
I know
That's
it's-
favorite
Y'all
rye.
don't even have to make a decision today, but if you want to write down the actual sample numbers
Yeah.
corresponding with the ones that are your favorite, if y'all want to say, hey, we really like these, and I can tell you what the barrel samples are.
Well, there's 100% decision today on that butterscotch.
You want two of
That
them.
is a for sure. That
Yeah, the butterscotch.
That
bomb.
butterscotch is
53-gallon butterscotch.
number 5.
We'll call that
was-
Werther's.
Yeah,
All right,
we'll just call it
number
Werther's.
5. That's number 5.
Yes.
Yeah, you just got to smell it to be sure. Take a whiff of that, Seth. I'm sure that.
Would you say take a whiff of it? Yeah, that's
Take a
absolutely.
swig
Yeah.
of it.
That's absolutely it. You can open every one of those
Yeah,
and,
you would never,
and never confuse this one with any of them.
It is good.
So that was.
It is good. We've had a few barrels like that. It's not all of them that do that. It's
Well, it's just so weird though that they're literally just sitting right next to each other. It's
Yeah.
not like it's
Yep.
you've got one rick house on one end of the property and another one on the complete 300 acres away on the other side of the property.
Yeah.
And two.
But I do look forward to that
completely
day when
houses, and
Oh, yeah.
they're all-
well, I don't know about 300 acres, but
No, but I think a place like a Jim Beam where they've just got stuff. I mean, it
Yes.
could be miles away, literally. And I mean, you guys are literally sitting right next to each other and getting two completely different.
Now here's where I sound like a snob. We have bottled some contract product for someone, and it was hand-picked single barrels from a distillery that were 14 years old, and we're all like, "It's all right," I mean, that's where it was at. We're like, "Well, that's all right," It's 14 years old, and it's by far lighter in color than all of this stuff. We were like shocked by how light in color the stuff is.
Whenever I post a picture of an MB Roland product on Instagram, I always look at that color.
Yeah.
It's just, these are some of the darkest bourbons I have. And it's
Well, I
just,
mean, even look at the 53 gallons. They're only 4 to 5 years old. and
4 to
they're-
5.
They're
yeah.
just as dark as the 2-year-old.
Yeah.
25,
Yeah.
and they're darker than most anything you're gonna find.
There's
But-
absolutely
But I'll
no
say this
mistaking
though,
that
this
bottle.
particular bourbon that we pulled. Oh, that's that one.
Yeah.
You know what that's gonna go
cannot
great with
believe-
there?
There's absolutely
butterscotch
You know
pie.
what's gonna go great with?
Caramel
cigar.
pie. Oh, cigar, yeah.
That's gonna go great
Well,
with cigar.
I tell you
It's in the
what.
car.
So
Leanne may be making something out of
Y'all,
peaches tonight.
smoking's allowed in this building.
I am
just
going to
so
make
you
a
know.
huge statement here, and I don't know. I don't care what people say when they listen to this, but Jeremy's girlfriend asked me yesterday what my favorite bourbon was, and I'm not going to lie. This is
That may be it, man.
moved. That has moved into
that
the
is
top
one
five.
of the top bourbons I think I've ever had.
I don't know that I've ever had one that sweet, but have that well-rounded spice balance.
Like I said, it reminds
It's
me
got
of
a
the old
great
like
finish.
80s Taylors.
Yes. But it
70s
drinks like it's 90 proof.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
drinks like it's 90 proof. I'll be interested in seeing what the proof
What the
of that
proof is.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen much of your guys. It's not 110.
Well, that's why I say it's going to be
Oh,
somewhere
the lowest it's going to be is 108,
Yeah.
107, 108.
What was ours there? Do you remember?
ours was 111. Ours was
111.
ours.
Yeah.
Well,
Ours was
remember
kinda
we
like
set
the higher-
another
higher.
two to 3 months at that top, all the way to the
edge of the
edge of the roof. So that got a little hotter. That was 111, but
That's one thing we've noticed is the barrels that are up against the side, because we've got the, tapered roof. The barrels that are right up against that corner where the roof, radiates the heat down on
Yeah.
them. I mean, there's a big noticeable amount of aging that goes on there compared to the ones that are interior, but it's not one barrel over from those ones that are getting radiated. It's not that different from the ones that are interior. It's just really those barrels
I
that.
remember if we passed. Do you guys rotate at all, or you just leave? once
Well,
you
no, we
set
do
up,
we
you
do rotate, but not on purpose. So we'll pull barrels
pull
out.
barrels down to
And a lot of
bottom
times
and
what we'll do, I mean, it just makes sense when you think about it from a practical standpoint. If we move barrels to get to another one, because the only way to get to a barrel is to pull every
out,
one,
pull out.
Yeah.
And so as we're pulling them off, we're looking at where those barrels are as far as aging goes. And if it's an older barrel, one that's getting closer to maturity, we'll actually keep it closer to the interior. And the reason why is because it's more accessible. So when we got to pull it off, we don't have to
You know
pull.
it's going to be easier to
Yeah.
get to when you're ready to.
It's
bottle.
practical. It's a
Yeah.
practical reason. So when we rotate, if it's a year plus old or a year and a half or 2 years for the 25s, then we'll sit there and we'll be like, oh, okay, we're not going to put this on the flipping into the rack or
Yeah.
the rib.
Yeah.
Move everything.
So we've got to sit here and, move 12 barrels to get to one.
yeah.
Is there any more? Y'all want to taste again? They're all right here.
If I had all day and didn't have to drive, all of them.
Yeah. They're all numbered 1
You know
through
what?
10.
I want to go back to number 2. Which
Number
one was number
2.
Spice Bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spice Bomb. I remember that. I should just aim them at me. 1,
There's
2.
four.
Here you go.
Just because that one was so much different.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You want to try it again?
I will. I mean,
You can finish that.
I poured a little more.
See, going back to it, it does have some butterscotch to it, but
Yeah, I can get it on the nose.
Yeah,
I think
It's
it was
definitely more
it was
baking
just
spice
such a
forward.
dry bomb, like
Yeah.
just kind of masked it a little bit.
Man, that's so different, though. I've never tasted a bourbon from us
Yeah.
that has.
I mean-
it's not just the spice; it's like the variety of spice
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
in there,
It's all.
and it
of
really
I mean,
helps
it
when
is-
Mexican food is permeating over here.
Yeah.
the spice reminds me of a really. I mean, it's almost like a Knob Creek,
Yeah, I
a,
can see that.
a little bit,
What really? I mean, when I first.
or a Booker's.
I think it's more of a Booker.
Not necessarily that bold,
Yeah.
but it's
Like to me, Knob Creek's a lot of times more peanut
yes, yeah,
type flavor,
yeah.
but I
This
think
is
the Booker's a lot more baking spice.
Yes.
It's not like a sharp.
Yeah.
Knob Creek doesn't have a sharp spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's got spice, but it's
got
not
spice,
sharp.
but it leads them a little more into like almost like a cookie because you got the nutty,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you get some of the spice with it. It's kind of mixed together. But a Booker's is almost more of a cut and dry like spice,
yeah. This is
baking
super
spice
unique.
type.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that one's still super unique, though.
that butterscotch we're getting,
Yes,
and then
absolutely.
wow.
I think we should do the rye too.
okay, number 5 rye.
Yeah.
We want the butterscotch bomb now because that is ready. I mean, that is.
Yes.
Yeah, that
That's
was ready
peak.
to bottle.
That's why I said
today.
just put that in the trunk and we'll
Yeah.
take care of the rest. Just
And
send us
then
with
let the rye
bottles.
sit in a couple months, and
That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
so for everyone listening, we have picked, I guess, 2 barrels. Came here for one. We came here for 125 and
125
ended up with a 53 and
And a
25. So
You did get your 25 rye.
that 25 rye, which we
Yes.
wanted, but we
Yeah.
ended up with a 53 butterscotch bomb.
Yeah.
So
So that was number 5 and 15
Yeah.
that we tasted. And I think the rye is probably one of the better ryes that I've had recently. Super
I
well
think it's on
rounded.
par with his original.
yeah, oh yeah.
I do
It's complete
too.
on par with
I do
his
too.
original.
Yeah.
Yeah, batch one.
Batch one. Thank you.
It reminded me heavily of batch one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was on par with that.
I thought that when before anyone said anything, I'm like, oh no, that reminds me of.
I remember this from
I
somewhere.
remember last time I was here and I tried that first rye and I asked if I could buy the barrel and you said no, and now I can. So
Well, you've got the choice at least.
that's just yeah.
Yeah. That concludes the tasting portion of this episode of Firewater Review for the MB Roland barrel pick. And if it wasn't evident from that, we ended up picking 2 barrels. Not one, like we had anticipated, but 2. We came home with choosing a 53-gallon bourbon and a 25-gallon rye. So that ended up being what we think is possibly the 3rd 53-gallon that has been picked from MB Roland. And we think it is also the first rye that has been picked from MB Roland. So be on the lookout for those barrels once they're bottled. We do hope that the bourbon is bottled towards the end of this month, August. And the bottles should be in our hands hopefully early September. And then we're letting the rye rest for a couple more months. So they might be ready towards the end of October, early November maybe. Really looking forward to those. That bourbon, as you probably heard on that recording, is quite possibly one of the best bourbons I've ever had. I mean, to have something that is just that full of butterscotch and to be barrel proof, uncut, unfiltered, and what will likely be somewhere around 107 proof, we're thinking 107 to 110 proof, and just drink like a low 90s proof bourbon. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And the rye, as you heard, it reminded us a lot of that batch 1 rye, which is, again, possibly one of the best ryes that I've had in a long time, if not ever. They're doing phenomenal work up there at MB Roland. So absolutely do check them out, give them their support, and look for their whiskeys on your local shelf. I know it can't be found here in Georgia, but I'm going to work very, very hard on changing that. So hopefully we'll see that down here soon. So that wraps up this episode of the Firewater Review. I am Seth P. Brown on Instagram and Never on the Twitters. Aaron can be found at Bourbon Cave on Instagram, and I believe he is at Bourbon Cave on Twitter as well. You can find the Firewater Review at Firewater Review on Instagram. And you can find us on abvnetwork.com. Our shows are available there. Shows are also available in iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. YouTube is audio only, no video. And as I mentioned prior to the tasting portion of the show, you can find MB Roland on Instagram and Twitter. They are at MB Roland Distillery. You can find their website at mbroland.com. And they also have a Facebook page, so be sure to check them out. Like I said, give them support. Just fantastic people doing fantastic work. And that's it, man. It's good to be back in the saddle doing the Firewater Review. Look for another episode next week where Aaron and I will be going through the batch 1 of MB Roland Rye, which we referenced on the tasting portion of this, and the rye that we picked, comparing those two. So be on the lookout for that next week. And until next time, please drink responsibly and cheers.